what is your goal for either the weight or the body fat percentage?
Weight, honestly, I don't have because I want to get stronger and stuff. So honestly, body fat percentage 10%, but consistent.
Brother, we're getting 8%. Like we're getting 8%. We ain't doing no 10%. You're pretty much already there, man. We're doing, how about this, right? Because you sent me over your photos that one time, I think it was last week. So we're gonna say
Yeah,
8% and six-pack abs.
there we go.
Is that fair?
Fair.
Solid. Okay. So that's Mike's goal. Now, this is gonna be such a cool analogy. Um, let's just say you mentioned that we'll just do it off this, like week one, week two, week three, week four. Okay. We're good there. And then let me do this. Say month one, month two, month three. Solid. Okay. So, Mike, you just said that you lost what was it? Two pounds the very first week?
Yeah.
Okay. So week number one, we'll just say down two. And then let's just say, well, you already said it. You said you gained 2 pounds, right? And you did
Yep.
everything right, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So no changes at all, pretty much. From week one, week two, wash. Okay. Guys, this is when most people get discouraged because they don't understand that fat loss isn't linear. They think it's, oh, hey, I crushed it. So if I just go back to doing the same things as the previous week and crushing it and sticking with my numbers, I'm going to continue to lose weight over and over again. It does not work that way, right? It does not. Let me just preference that one more time. It does not work that way, right? Some weeks you're going to lose. Some weeks you're going to gain. Some weeks nothing's going to happen, right? But most importantly, what you cannot do is get discouraged and most importantly, be the one that is just like self-sabotage and you just stop trying, you give up, you go back to your old ways, right? You say, hey, I'm over and done with this, okay? Because two things, first and foremost, what you guys are doing on this program, it's not just to help you look good and feel good. That's one aspect, and we're going to get to that, but it's also to prepare you for the future. Okay. So if let's just say, Jeff G, I'll use you for example, right? You're down about what, 35, 40 pounds?
I was 31 as of Sunday.
Okay. So down 31 pounds. All right. Let's just say, Jeff, you don't lose any more weight the next 6 months, right? No weight at all, right? You're doing everything right. You're not losing any weight. How old are you, Jeff?
I'll be 54 in a couple weeks.
Okay, 54. Now, if let's just say, right, we fast forward not only 6 months, but let's just say another 10 years, and now you're about to be 64. Are you doing, right, the things that you're doing today inside of this coaching program? Is that actually helping you or hurting you for a better, more healthier, more positive future at 64, despite if you lose any weight at all?
Oh, it's helping me. Yeah.
Perfect. So guys, keep that in mind, right? Like we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We're doing simple things, right? Fat loss habits, sustainable fat loss habits. You drink more water. Is that healthy? Yes. You're getting plenty of sleep. Is that healthy? Yes, right? We're exercising. Is that healthy? Yes. We're eating a well-balanced diet filled with, protein. Is that healthy? Yes. Is there flexibility where you're still favorite foods? Yes. Right? So all the things that you guys are doing, right? Steps included, stress management included. That's called longevity, right? I want you guys to really understand that, okay? Whether you're losing weight or not, you're filling up your cup for the future, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, okay? Now, the second thing that I want to go off with this is once again, whether you're losing weight or seeing the progress that you want or not, you're still right. You're doing the right things, but most importantly, the number on the scale, even the body fat percentage, does not matter at all. Why, Mike? What matters the most when it comes to all this?
How you look, feel.
Exactly. How you look and how you feel. So, Mike, you lost 2 pounds the first week, second week, right? You gained 2 pounds. Now, let me ask you this. How do you look and how do you feel?
I still look and feel great. The
Exactly.
Flex Friday pick shows it all.
Yes, exactly. So guys, when you're upset because, hey, you gained 2 pounds, right? Get your mindset off that, right? Nobody cares at all about the number on the scale. Now, granted, if you're in a reverse diet, that's a little bit different. We want to monitor that. But most importantly is like the only time they're really going to ask you, Mike, I'll bring it back to you, right? When is the only time besides this coaching program anybody ever asked you how much do you weigh?
At the doctor's office
How often do you go to the doctor's office?
once a year.
Once a year. Let me ask you this. Do they ever monitor your body fat percentage?
No.
Okay. Right. They just go off of your weight, your BMI, right? Body mass index has nothing to do with lean muscle tissue, has nothing to do with, body, nothing to do with all that. It's just a number on the scale. Now, Mike, right? I don't know. This just personally has never happened to me, right? And, the past since 2017, having my shirt off on social media and coaching people, right? I get asked all the time, hey, what do you do? Right? You look great. Like, I want to get results like that. How many times do you think somebody's asked me how much do I weigh? Zero.
Zero.
Exactly. Because nobody cares about that. But yet we put so much pressure on that number that nobody cares about except for the doctors one time a year. Funny how that works, right? So guys, before we dive more into the specifics about this, mentally, don't shoot yourself in the foot because you never know what's going to happen down the road. And that's why we're going to go over this analogy next. So Ryan, I see you hopped in here. David, I think you hopped in here too. Give you guys a little play-by-play, right? We're talking about Mike right now. 169 pounds, 11% body fat, currently having 1,800 calories, 8% body fat is his goal, six-pack abs, right? So this is what's been going on. The first week, he lost 2 pounds. Second week, crushed it. Macros, steps, killed it with the workouts. The dude put on so much muscle. You can also tell from him crushing the PRs from the Spartans challenge. Now he gained 2 pounds. New beginners, right? New members would be very upset, would be very discouraged. They instantly tell themselves, why did I sign up for this? I'm gaining weight rather than losing weight. I want my money back. I want to go home, want to go back to eating, Twinkies and Oreos and having Cheeto dust all over me. And I'm just going to stop caring about my health, right? We can't do that. We have to do what's called trusting the process, just like what Mike talks about. Whether, right, the number of skills goes down or not, it's all about one, what I said earlier. Hey, are you doing healthy things today that's going to make your life a lot better, healthier, more positive for you 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the future? Yes or no? Yes. Hey, how do you look and how do you feel? Is the answer good? Is the answer great? Awesome. Then cool. Take the expectations off because you never know what's going on underneath the surface. Mike, you crushed it with the workouts and all that stuff. You mentioned that your body fat tanked down a little bit, which is good. That's signs right there, brother. You put on that lean muscle tissue. And with you being already low in body fat, that's hard to do. So that's like a huge, pat on your back because once again, like that's hard at this stage in your health and fitness career. But let's just do this, right? I'm going to play devil's advocate one more time. Let's just say, Mike, next week, nothing happens, right? It's just zero. Okay. And then let's just say the following week, you put on another 2 pounds. So this whole entire past month, you can actually see here that you gained 2 pounds total. Okay. And let's just say your body fat, maybe just because that's what we're really monitoring here, not your weight, your body fat actually increased 1.5. So now you're at 12.5% body fat. Okay. Going into month number 2. Now let's just say week number 1 comes and you keep your head in the game. You're like, all right, hey, what's going on here? We're reviewing your stats. Maybe we find out that, before you actually weigh in, like, let's just say you weigh in on Sundays. And let's just say that typically you and your wife, you go out on a date night on Saturday night. And typically like, hey, you want to have a drink, you want to have a cocktail. Maybe you guys like to go eat sushi, right? This is like literally every Friday night for me. So you guys know, right? It's drinks and sushi with my wife. Guess what? Alcohol, sodium does what, Mike?
It retains water.
Ooh, now let me ask you this. Did you know that before going into this coaching program?
No, sir.
Most people don't, right? So now we're trying to like dive it in, like, all right, hey, the first month, like, what's going on here? But now it's like really getting into the specifics here. What's going on? Oh, it's date night, right? Mike, every Saturday night, sushi and drinks, alcohol retention, right? When it comes to maintaining water, and then obviously the sodium, maintaining more water. We have that simple conversation with you, right? And then it's like, let's just say that first week goes by. Now all of a sudden you drop 1 pound. Let's say week number 2 comes, and let's just say, hey, everything's cool, right? You're doing everything right, but no changes happen at all. And let's just say week number 3 comes, and now all of a sudden it's like, something happened with your son or something happened at work, right? And it's just eating you up, right? We starting to see like, Mike's showing up, he's doing his workouts, he's hitting his macros, but you know what? He's not really active inside the community group anymore. He's not really engaging with the members. He's not really, like participating too much. We then have another conversation with you, and then it's like, hey, Mike, is everything okay? Like I'm doing your check-in, but I'm just noticing that like you're really not, as active in the groups as you once were. Is everything okay? And you happen to tell me about all this stress that's going on in your life. What is that going to do to your stats, Mike?
Stress is the #1 fat loss killer, man. You're not gonna make any changes.
Mike, you need to take over my seat, brother, because you can run this whole entire coaching program yourself. I swear. What he just said was 100% accurate. Stress is the #1 fat loss killer. So we had that conversation, but we didn't know about that, right? So let's just say week number 3, he happens to actually increase, let's just say 2 pounds. So we have that conversation about stress now. That whole entire second month, because Mike's not a beginner, right? Mike's advancing more and more. He's doing his check-ins, doing his stats, all this stuff's going on. But us as coaches, we get to know you guys, right? Like, you guys know I have a family. You guys know I'm a man of faith, right? And I know several things about you guys. I know several things about your family members, right? This is why coaching is so powerful. It's not, hey, show up and it's a V shred of here's a PDF meal plan and some blanket workouts where you don't get any adjustments at all. It's like, no, this is we're working with you, right? It's relationship building. Any relationship works and grows based on one thing, communication. So week over week, obviously, we're messaging. Hold on, somebody's got to mute themselves. Week over week, we're messaging each other, we're talking, we're communicating, we're getting to know each other. So this whole entire, month 2, we talked about, hey, the sodium from the date nights. We talked obviously about the stress. Now all of a sudden, right, Mike's feeling really good. Let's just say that last week. All right, who's ever doing the scribbles, stop. Right? Let's say that last week, Mike happens to drop 3 pounds. Okay. Now, if we're looking at the stats here, right? Mike, what are some basic math? Let's say week number 1, you lost a pound. Week number 2, nothing happens. Week number 3, you gained a pound, right? Week number 3, you lost 3. Where are we at on the scale?
-1 +2, it gets you back to +2, -2 on the scale.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm never calling you for a math question again. I thought that was going to be a spitball one. So he happens to drop 2% body fat, or excuse me, two pounds on the scale, which doesn't really matter too much. But let's just say also that his body fat percentage drops 2%, right? Which is very real to do because once again, some of these numbers, sodium is just affecting, right? Like more of your weight number on the scale, water retention, stress. That's a huge thing when it comes to body fat. So if you're underneath a lot of stress, you're underneath a uncertainty, scarcity, whatever the case may be going on. And guys, stress is so many different aspects. It is not what most people think. Like, oh man, like I have a bunch of stuff to do today. It's stress. Stress could be sickness, right? Bill has COVID right now. Hey, that's stressful on his body. Stress could be worry, right? About the future, worried about what's going on. Stress could be illnesses, sicknesses, injuries. Stress could be stuff at work. Stress could be finances. Stress could be a bunch of different aspects. And this is why I'm a huge fan of mindset, meditation, journaling, affirmations, different things like this to get you out of that stressful mindset. So now that Mike does all that, guess what? He lost 2% body fat. So now, right, we're over here at 12% body fat, lost to 2. We're at 10% body fat. And now, since Mike's continuing to progress, his body's getting used to all this, right? Hey, what happens the more you use the app? The easier it gets, right? Plain and simple. I tell everybody that. it's like a water hose at first, right? Oh, I got to track my macros. How does this app work? There's a community group. I'm getting blitzed with all these messages, pulling my hair out, right? Right. I got to do these workouts. I got to log my stats on the workouts. What I thought I was just going to show up and start losing weight instantly. I didn't realize I had to put in the work. But guess what? You put in the work, the easier it gets. Did you guys ever feel that way at first getting signed up with coaching? Yeah. It's just how it is. The more you use the app, the more you're on this coaching program, the easier it gets on your health and fitness journey, right? So now Mike knows, okay, hey, here's my workouts. Joe's been saying this on his weekly check-ins. I know I need to focus on progressive overload. Joe already told me this about, stress. Joe already told me this about, the alcohol, the water retention, the sodium. Now it's going to start looking like this, right? Maybe this week over here, you don't lose any weight. That's okay. But maybe over here, you happen to lose a pound. And maybe over here, you happen to lose, 0, right? Which is very realistic, okay? And then over here, you happen to lose, let's just say 2 pounds. So this whole entire last month, Mike lost 3 pounds. But let's just say also his body fat dropped another 2%. So now Mike has successfully went from the 11% body fat down to 8% body fat. Okay, basic questions. Don't mess this up. If you do, you're fired, right? You're going into detention with Bill. Okay, so Mike, right to recap, 169 pounds, 11% body fat, current calories, 1,800. We'll get to that more in a second here, right? We're talking more about just progression on things. His goal, 8% body fat, 6-pack abs. Now, Ryan, based on just this data right here with month number 1, did he lose weight every single week?
No.
Okay. Did he happen to gain weight that first month?
Is that a plus on the end?
Yeah, plus 2 pounds. Just say
On,
yes.
on the scale he could have, but with his body weight, body fat, probably not.
Well, he actually did.
Oh,
right?
he
So,
did. Yeah, he did.
yeah,
Plus
body
5.
fat. Yeah, so I'll do it like this. W and B, right? So did he
So
happen to
yes.
gain weight that first month?
Yep. So did I.
And most people do, right? And I'm going to explain that in a second here. Did he happen to gain body fat his first month? Okay.
Yep.
Second month, right? He's coming into this. That first week, right? Lost some weights, plateau, gained some weight. I'm going to ask you the same exact questions now. Did Mike happen to lose weight every single week of month number 2?
Not every week, but overall.
Okay, overall. So the overall month, right? He lost 2 pounds and he lost also 2% body fat. Now over here, that third month, same question, okay? Because you can see there's some stalls. Did he happen to lose weight every single week?
No.
Okay. But what happened because Mike didn't give up? He eventually
Decreased his body fat.
decreased. Yeah, he got to his goal, right? So he got to his goal, and obviously I drew the little stick figure, right? Mike reached his goal, okay? So the reason why I want to share all this with you before we get into more details about the reverse diet aspect and whatnot, but guys, this is fat loss expectations, right? There's 3 different types of body type trends when it comes to all this, okay? The first one, B, F, we'll just say 1. Let's say somebody is 200 pounds, and this is realistically how it's going to work. In fact, before we even get in here, let me just say this, okay? When you sign up for this coaching program, you will gain weight initially at first. In fact, here, I don't want to exit out of my lovely whiteboard here, but show of hands. Did you gain weight the first couple weeks? Yeah, bunch of hands going up, right? Keep your hands up. Bill's going down, Bill's up, Brian's up. Who else is down here? Okay, cool. So you guys can see a bunch of people gain weight, okay? The first couple weeks. Mike, right? I'm going to put you in the hot seat one more time because you should be running this coaching call, honestly. You know all this. Why does somebody gain weight essentially at first?
Most people usually aren't eating enough food. Their metabolisms are shot.
Yes, exactly. Right. So it's like most people have these horrible expectations. Hey, I'm going to sign up for this coaching program because that's what it is. It's coaching. This is all education, teaching you guys what works best for your body type, how how to maintain these results for the rest of your life, right? So if somebody comes in expecting these results, but not understanding how it actually works underneath the surface, they're going to get what? Discouraged, throw in the towel, quit, complain, right? Go back to their old ways. Not the best thing to do. Instead, we need to have realistic expectations. Okay. Nobody got fat in a week. Nobody's going to lose all their body fat in a week. Nobody got fat in a month. Nobody's going to lose all their body fat in a month. That's just how it works, guys. It was a long period of time of bad eating habits, meaning you're probably way under on your calories, which 98% of the people that get signed up for our coaching program, they undereat. They think their problem is portion control. Nothing to do with portion control at all. It's the simple fact of like, you're under eating. You're not fueling your body properly. You're giving yourself a state of scarcity. And I'm going to do one little analogy to help you guys out with all this. So let's just say this is a cup. And let's just say right here is the water inside the cup. Okay. And this is your maintenance. And right here, the top of the cup, this is your surplus. The bottom of the cup, right, is your deficit. Okay. So once again, I'll make it like this. S, M, D. Okay. Surplus, maintenance, deficit. Most people think the problem is portion control. That has nothing to do with it at all, okay? When it comes to gaining body, not even talking about that. When it comes to just slowing down your metabolism, which essentially makes you, right, gain body fat, it works like this. Most people think that they're putting too much food into the cup. Ryan, I'm gonna mute you just because I hear some background news, okay? Most people think that they put too much calories into the cup. They might, but over the average, right, like course period of time, they're not. So they think that, oh, I'm just eating way too much. I'm overeating. And yeah, if you are doing that, sure, eventually, right, your maintenance, your calories all coming in, it spills over. That's why I tell you guys, you got some wiggle room. It's not like if you overeat on your calories, you're instantly going to gain weight. No, you got wiggle room, you know? At the same time, when you undereat, you still have that wiggle room too. So now the deficit comes from here because with the majority of people, they're not eating enough, okay? Mike, if you're in PA, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say, well, I have a 2012 Honda Civic, so I could realistically probably make it to your house on a full tank of gas. Like that car runs. But let's just say I was going to Tom Chesney's house, right? I was going to go visit him at work, bring him a box of donuts for all his hard work. Tom lives over in California, right? Do you think I would make it to Tom's house or his work on a full tank of gas in my 2012 Honda Civic and I never stopped to fill up the car tank?
Not at all.
What would eventually happen if I was just riding around? Hey, my gas light's on. I'm ignoring it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get there, right? It's cool. Like, what's gonna eventually happen to my car?
Engine's just gonna stop. You got no fuel in it.
Yep. You're gonna ride around on fumes, be broken down, right, on the side of the road, right? And that's what happens with most guys, right? That's what happens with most people in general. They don't understand that analogy. Food equals fuel, right? This is why when people come into this coaching program, I tell them, just if you want to have the best success from inside this coaching program, ignore everything that you think you know about fat loss, right? Like your problem is not that you're overeating and portion control. Your problem is not that carbs are the enemy and you're going to go to hell from eating a donut. No, like the simple fact is like you're just not eating properly and you have a horrible relationship with food. And guys, this was me back in the day. Once I got certified with nutrition, everything all changed because then it became this game of numbers. Hence why when I look at your stats on your weekly check-ins, you think I care what you eat? No, I care about the numbers because that's what matters the most. That's data. Those are the KPIs to see if you have the right metrics to see the changes that you want, plain and simple. So realistically, most people, they're under eating, which means they're not getting enough calories. They're not getting enough protein. Now, Mike, right, with somebody's metabolism or let's just say their lean muscle tissue, right? If they're not eating enough of the right foods, what's going to happen to their muscle?
They're gonna lose it.
They're going to lose it, right? And a lot of people also, they don't really work out. When you don't use it, you lose it, right? So if you're not fueling your body properly, if you're not working out, you're going to lose your muscle, which essentially slows your metabolism down. And that's when we store body fat, right? So I'm giving you guys literally a certification in a nutshell inside of this coaching call right now. Okay. So let's go back to this because, well, first off, we need to, one more time, go to this, realize it doesn't happen a week. It doesn't happen in 2. It doesn't happen in a month. Okay. What happens underneath the surface, typically when you first get started off and why you gain weight in the beginning is because you're eating more food that your body's not used to. You're working out and building muscle that you haven't put on in years. So muscle, one, weighs more than fat. Second, you have to give yourself, right, your body, a chance for your metabolic rate to adapt. Just like how, once again, you're not going to lose fat in a week, you're not going to gain all this fat, or you're not going to gain all this muscle and speed up your metabolism and change things in a week either. It's going to take time. And typically with most people, it's as long as they're consistent, right? I'm going to share what that means next, but anywhere from about 4 to 6 weeks on average for somebody to, let's just say, years of having an unhealthy metabolism, as long as they're consistent within 4 to 6 weeks, it will eventually change. It will eventually speed up. Maybe not to the rate that you want it to because you have these false expectations, but it will eventually get there. Now, what does consistency mean? Hey, I'm hitting my calories. I'm hitting my macros. I'm doing my workouts. I'm getting plenty of steps in. I'm drinking water. The same essential habits that I teach you guys in the beginning that I want you guys to carry on for the rest of your life, 10, 15, 20 plus years down the road. Plain and simple. So if you want your metabolic rate to speed up, you got to make sure that you're consistent across the board, right? And granted, I'm not saying you need to be obsessed and strict, but the name of the game here is consistency, okay? Don't get discouraged, especially if the number gives up. We all started this conversation with Mike. Hey, you gained some weight. You still trust the process. You're not upset about it. You have the right expectations. I'm going to crush it again next week. Even if I don't lose any weight next week, hey, I'm going to hit it hard again. All right. Let me talk about this real quick. And then Brennan, we're going to talk about your topic. Okay. So Mike, I'm going to use you, right? In fact, you're 169 pounds. What did you start off at? Was it 130, 140?
240.
Okay. Perfect. There we go. My pen. All right. So 240. All right, fat loss, body fat percentage, right? Or excuse me, body fat trend, right? Because these are trends that I'm going to go over. This is the first one that looks bad. There we go. Okay, so this is the first one. Mike, right? He starts off here. Maybe he loses some weight. Maybe he hits a little plateau. Maybe he loses some weight. Maybe he hits a little plateau. Maybe he loses some weight. Maybe he hits a little plateau. Maybe he loses some weight, hits a little plateau, loses some weight. Mike, simple question. Did you lose weight every single week?
No, not at all.
Did you eventually reach your goal?
Yes.
Plain and simple, right? So guys, once again, don't get discouraged if, let's just say, the first week, right? Hey, the number on the scale goes up, or hey, this week I didn't lose any weight and I hit a plateau. I just stalled out. Guys, data's right here. You never know what's going to happen down the road. But I'll tell you one thing, right? I'm not a mind reader. I'm not somebody that can predict the future, right? But I'll put everything that I own, I'll put my family's life on this. If you give up and stop, eating healthy, stop working out, stop exercising, just completely give up and be sedentary and sit on the couch, eat chips and Doritos all day, you will never reach your goals. Put my life on that. I think we all can agree on that. So the name of the game with this one is just show up and be consistent. Do you need to be 5% better every single day, Mike?
1%.
1%. Yes, 1%. Not 5, not 50, not 60, right? Not 100, 1%. Most people, right, why they fail at reaching their goals is because life throws them a curveball. It's stress, it's sickness, it's an injury, it's something that takes them off track, something that takes them off their routine, and then they try to go right back. Maybe it was like Bill with COVID, right? And I mentioned this on Bill's check-in. I said, Bill, give yourself some grace for the following week. Don't try to get right back on track and, crush your sparring challenge, crush your workouts, and do that across the board 7 days a week. Give yourself some grace, flexibility here. Give it like 3 days, and then the following week, give it 4 days. The problem is we want to rush everything. We're like, oh, we were in such great shape over here, and this is what was going on. So let's get back to it. And then what happens? You get discouraged because you can't keep up with how you were right before that unexpected event happened that took you off track. So that's why it's always, hey, the name of the game for this one, guys, is roll the punches, slow and steady wins the race. And when life does throw you a curveball, which it will all the time, right? It's going to happen. Give yourself grace and start small to get right back on track. Don't try to go to perfection because we always say progression over perfection, consistency over intensity. All right, body fat percentage or body fat trend. We're going to do this. Number 2. Okay. Mike, start off at 240 pounds. And let's just say this is a second trend right here. Okay. He's right here. He loses some weight. He gains some weight. He loses some weight. He gains some weight. He loses some weight, gains some weight. Loses some weight, gains some weight. Maybe like, little plateau over here. Lose some weight, gain some weight, lose some weight. Mike, did you eventually hit your goal?
Indeed.
Okay. What made it so successful at you losing your weight? You did not what?
Quit.
Exactly, guys. This isn't rocket science, all right? This is very simple. Now let's talk about the last body fat trend, okay? We're going to say Mike is now Coach Joe because this is me. This is why when I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but like I literally hate when people complain about the number on the scale because this is my trends. And until you understand how frustrating it can be and you just emotionally not get convicted to that stupid number on the scale, which once again, Mike, how often do people want to know that?
Once a year.
Once a year, right? Once a year. Brad, I see your hand put it down. All right, I got you. Hold on. So for this one, this is where you don't know what's going to happen. All right. You're going to start off here and let's just say you lose some weight, but then you might hit a plateau, but then you might gain some weight and then you might hit another plateau and then you might see a big drop, right? And then over here and then over here. And next thing you know, it's like this weird snowball, like circle effect that takes you all the way over here. And then you're over here and then you gain some weight, but then sure enough, right? You continue to go on, maybe make some more little action figures. Boom. We're here. Mike, did we eventually get down 170 pounds?
Yes.
Because we did not
Quit.
Guys, that's it, right? Like it's that simple. That's exactly everything that you need to know when it comes to fat loss expectations, when it comes to losing body fat for your body type. It's that simple. You got your 7 essential fat loss habits, your calories for your body type, right? Be in that deficit. You have obviously your macros. Don't focus on the carbs. Don't focus on the fats. Focus on hitting your protein goal. Plain and simple. Okay. If you want to exceed your protein goal, stay within your calories. Amen. Right. Good sweet spot. Third, focus on strength, right? So that way you're maintaining and also building that muscle that's going to help you lose more body fat overall. Don't think, oh, I'm going to get all big and bulky and bodybuilder style because I'm lifting heavier and focusing on progressive overload. It doesn't work that way, right? Only if you're in a huge calorie surplus and you're literally trying to bulk, okay? 4, get plenty of steps in. I'm not saying go run laps, go run marathons, just move your body, right? NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's the cardio that we like to use here at Heartletics. 5, drink plenty of water. We aim for at least a gallon a day. You'd be surprised, especially if you're somebody that has a bad back. I remember when I was at the chiropractor, they told me you need to drink at least a gallon of water a day to just help your back. And I was so surprised, so shocked, right? Until I actually doing more research about, the benefits of just drinking more water. Your organs need water. Your muscle needs water, right? Lipolysis, right? The process of your body losing body fat requires hydration. Your body's over what? 65% water anyways? We learned this stuff back when we were kids. And, it's just like common sense here, guys. Common sense, right? This is all about sustainability here for the long run, 10 and 15, 20 years down the road. The 6th fat loss habit, stress management. Mike, you said this is the number one what?
Fat loss killer.
Exactly. And this is why, right, Brennan, I know we're short on time, but we're going to get to you in a second. Having community, having people holding you accountable, having people in your corner that support you, can talk to you, get stuff off your chest, right? Like life's going to throw curveballs your way. You don't know what to expect. That's life, right? But at the same time, you don't know if it might be a blessing in disguise underneath all that stress because you're learning something in the process. You're growing through it, okay? And obviously, the 7th one is the recovery. Don't be killing yourself and I'm beat up and I'm tired all day long and I'm injured. I'm dealing with all this inflammation. We go over, obviously, hey, getting plenty of sleeps in at least 7 hours every single night, right? That's healthy. We also go over what, Mike? When somebody's, let's say, crushing in the gym and they need a week or two to just kind of like, just kind of like help them when it comes to the inflammation that's in the body, we give them what?
Deload.
Deloads. Right? So having these strategies, and for all those fat loss habits, there's different strategies, right? Plenty of ways to skin a cat here, right? But this is essentially, guys, how you're going to progress, how you're going to see the results that you want. But one thing that I can promise you, right, that's going to make you not successful at reaching your fitness goals, is by giving up and throwing in the towel. And what makes people quit the most is false expectations.